Om Swastiastu. Hello everyone, we are from SGD B-10 and today we will present about our student project with the title Diabetes Education for Travel Guide and Driver. This is the member of SGD B-10. And first, we are moving into Chapter 1, Introduction. Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Putu Indriati with last three-digit number 231. First is about background information. Diabetes is a chronic health condition characterized by high blood glucose levels. As a travel guide or driver, it is crucial to have broad understanding of diabetes management, and it creates safe and inclusive experience for travelers with diabetes, enhancing their overall well-being during their journey. And this is the problem formulation and objective in our student project. It consists of definition, epidemiology, type of diabetes, risk factor, general precaution of diabetic traveler, symptoms management, diabetic support group, essential preparation, the importance of diabetic travel education, and effectively respond to diabetes emergencies. So the benefit of our student project is to learn about diabetes education for travel guide and driver, and review diabetes education for travel guide and driver throughout this paper to determine whether anything needs to be improved or studied further. So hoping that this paper will contribute to academics in the future.
Okay, my name is Nandhita Naaz with the last digit of student number 189, and now I would like to explain about the definition of diabetes mellitus or DM. DM is the term for a chronic condition with several etiologies that is defined by elevated blood sugar levels and disruption in macronutrient metabolism such as carbohydrate, fat, and protein. The classic symptoms of DM such as polyuria, polydipsia, and polyphagia, and sometimes accompanied with weight loss. And according to Perkeny, there are 4 criteria for diagnosing DM, and the first criteria is fasting plasma glucose test greater than or equal to 126 milligram per deciliter, and fasting is a condition where there is no calorie intake for at least 8 hours, or plasma glucose test is greater than or equal to 200 milligram per deciliter and 2 hours after the oral glucose tolerance test with a 75 gram glucose load. Or random plasma glucose test is greater than or equal to 200 milligram per deciliter with classic symptoms or hyperglycemic crisis. Or the last one is HbA1c test is greater than or equal to 6.5% using a method standardized by the NGSP and the DCCT assay. Thank you.
My name is Indyarwan Ananta Seno with last three-digit name 091. Epidemiology. The last few decades, diabetes mellitus has a progressive number of prevalent in the world, with the long rising cases of obesity. In Southeast Asia's countries, it is predicted that the prevalence will increase to 151 million cases by the year of 2045. The prevalence of diabetes mellitus type 1 is 5 until 10%, the gestational diabetes mellitus by 35 to 60%, and the most common form of diabetes mellitus is diabetes mellitus type 2 with the prevalence of 90 to 95% in the USA. Recent data shows that the people who are in the working age have the prevalence of over 326 million cases in contrast with people over 65 years old. Based on gender, men are more likely to suffer from diabetes mellitus, and the high prevalence of diabetes in a country has many factors such as income status, education level, unhealthy lifestyle, etc. The next part will be explained by my colleague.
Okay, my name is Bitaqia Yumna Agustia with last digit number 105. So I would like to explain about the risk factors of diabetes. Several risk factors play an important role in the development of diabetes. It's important to know the risk factors for diabetes to prevent further symptoms and complications. First, for gestational diabetes, there are several risk factors, including have given birth to a baby weighing more than 4 kg, have history of gestational diabetes, have aged more than 25 years, have overweight, or have PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome, have family history of type 2 diabetes, or have race and ethnic such as African American, Hispanic, American Indian, or Hawaiian. Next, for type 1 diabetes, there are several risk factors, including age, which most develop in children, adolescents, or young adults, or have family history of type 1 diabetes. Okay, for type 2 diabetes, for the risk factor, divided into two groups. The first, there is non-modifiable risk factor, including have family history of type 2 diabetes, have race and ethnic, such as African American, Hispanic, Native Alaska, or American Indian, and have age more than 40 years, or have given birth to a baby weighing more than 4 kilograms, or have history of gestational diabetes, or have a history of low birth weight less than 2.5 kilogram. Second one, there are modifiable risk factors, including overweight, lack of physical activity, hypertension, dyslipidemia, and unhealthy diet. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you. Next will be explained by my partner.
Hello, doctors and friends. My name is Novea Indratmo, and the last three digits of my student number is 119. Now I'm going to be explaining about the pre-travel preparations for diabetic travelers. So first of all, travel is allowed for diabetic patients as long as it is taken with extra precautions. So first of all, you have to consult with a doctor whether or not you're fit to travel and whether or not you can still get the medicine you need and if it is safe for you to bring in the travel. Second of all, you have to plan your destinations very well because you have to search for culinary options that can fit with your diet as a diabetic. And you can also search for nearby healthcare facilities like pharmacies and clinics in case of any emergencies or in case you need to buy extra medicine, you know where to go. Third is packing the essentials, like medicine supplies. It is advised to bring twice as much as you think you need when you are traveling, like the insulin and other medication for diabetes. Second of all, you have to bring snacks and long-acting carbohydrates, even though you already have places to go to eat. So you have extra meals that you came prepared in case you cannot eat the food that is there or in case there are long flights. And third of all, you have to bring a medical ID bracelet so that people around you know about your medical condition. Lastly, you can travel with trained guides so that they can help you break the language barrier and also help you around when you are in a country that you're unfamiliar with. There's also several rules for flight for diabetic travelers that you have to prepare before the flight. First of all, you have to inform the airline about your condition so that you can also prepare the documents needed, like a medical record, so that they can verify that you're actually a diabetic patient and they can give some exceptions for you. For example, when you bring medications and supplies, you'll be excluded from the rule of the limit 100 milliliters of liquid in flights. And here you can bring liquids like insulin more than 100 milliliters for diabetic patients. You also need to take extra precautions for patients with insulin pumps or CGM monitors or continuous glucose monitor device users because these devices can be damaged by the X-ray machines used in security in the airline. You need to also beware of flight-related hypoglycemia, which is reported in cases of patients using these insulin pumps because usually in flight there is a kink due to air bubbles present in the pumps, which is due to the pressure changes in cabin. That is all from me. Thank you.
My name is Gede and Renathan with 3 digits to the number 193. And now I will explain about diabetic symptom management upon traveling. Traveling abroad presents challenges like unfamiliar language, time zone, and location. To effectively manage diabetic symptom, proper insulin storage and temperature control are crucial. Insulin should be stored between 40 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius and carried at all times to avoid sunlight exposure. Using an insulin cooler pack or case can provide convenient temperature control. Insulin names and concentration vary across countries, with U100 being standard in the US and U40 in Europe. There's also another type of vial concentration like U200, U300, and U500. Patients should be aware of these differences and the potential of mixing insulin concentration with syringes of different sizes. Also, when trying local cuisines, Diabetic patients should be proactive and informed about nutritional consent and also monitor their blood glucose level while staying physically active. This allows them to manage their diabetes while still enjoying culinary experiences during their travel.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Zafira Kumala Dewi, with last three digit of star number is 122. Now I will continue the explanation about diabetic support group. Diabetes support group is an organization that consists of people with diabetes condition that works as peer tutors and emotional support for one another, and it could help improving glucose control in people with diabetes. This group are essential for giving people with this condition a place to talk about their experience, get emotional support, and learn about managing their illness. Participation in diabetic support groups has been linked into greater self-management abilities and enhanced adherence to treatment programs that lead into better glucose control. Peer group support can teach patients to change negative perception about their disease into positive perception so that self-confidence and ability to manage their disease rise. The study also emphasized the benefit of diabetic support groups for result in mental health. The result highlights the needs of embedding mental health assistance into diabetes management programs and the significant contribution that support groups makes to meet this need. There are several types of diabetes support group. First is in-person meeting, online meeting communities, and hybrid models that combine both offline and offline meetings. Uh, there are some online communities for type 2 diabetes, such as type 2 diabetes helpline and diabetes forum, and there is also an in-person community for type 2 diabetes in USA called the Fit Diabetes Foundation. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Putu Indriati with the last digit of student numbers are 033. I will explaining regarding the time zone changes and medication schedules. So crossing or shifting time zone, which often happen by traveler, cause the traveler must adjust their daily activities and medicine needs. After influencing the medication adjustment can be categorized based on travel distance and travel direction. For short-haul travel, either eastward or westward, it might not be considerably interfere with regular activities. So the medication strategy that can be done is to take medication before departing according to normal home time, and then resume medication based on local time upon arrival. Next, for the long-haul travel to eastward, travel should decrease insulin dose, and if the time changes more than 3 hours, take the morning dose according to home time on the day of the travel, and adjust insulin time according to the new time zone upon arrival. Next, for the long-haul travel to westward, travelers should increase insulin dose, and if the time changes more than 3 hours, take insulin at the typical home hour before traveling, and then adjust insulin dose as needed with the help of a healthcare provider. That's all from me. The next part will be explained by my friend. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Agung Librawan Darmalaksana with three last digit of student number R029. I want to explain about the importance of travel guide and drivers in diabetic travelers education. Diabetes travelers must be considered when traveling, starting from the challenges during traveling, such as changes in activity, diet, sleep, stress, and geographical condition in the area to be visited. In addition, diabetic travelers are likely to experience increased stress and counter-regulatory hormones that have an impact on glucose control. These two factors will be exacerbated if the diabetic traveler is traveling alone. Therefore, diabetic traveler must remain in a stable state during traveling. Some of the things that can help are the presence of a travel guide who will help in case of emergency and guide for health facilities, travel routes, and availability of medication in the area, as well as driver who will reduce the risk of accident due to diabetes risk factors like retinopathy or peripheral neuropathy during the trip. I think that's all for me, and the next will be explained by my friend. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gede Wikanjaya with last three digits of my student number is 139. So in this section, I will explain you about the essential preparation for traveling with diabetic patients for the drivers or tour guides. So as we know, tour guides or drivers, they play an important role to ensure that they can give enjoyable journey to everyone, including travelers with diabetes. And there are some things that they can prepare to face specifically travelers with diabetes. And they are, first one is familiarizing with diabetes. And they have to learn about communication and confidentiality, medical emergency preparedness also, and timely breaks and meal planning, accessibility and comfort, and also awareness of stress and fatigue and the symptoms of diabetes.
Hello, my name is Nyoman Medhira with last digit of the number is 070. Now I will explain about how to recognizing and managing diabetes emergency. There are few symptoms that amateurs likely to encounter this diabetes emergency should look out for, such as tour guides and drivers for immediate interventions and potentially life-saving assistance. There are two emergencies in diabetes. First, there is hypoglycemia or low blood sugar, with the main symptoms are weakness, disorientations, and sweating. In this case, providing a supply of fast-acting glucose, such as fruit juice, simple soda, or glucose gel as quickly as possible is very important. Second, there is hyperglycemia or high blood sugar, with the main symptoms are increased thirst, frequent urination, and confusion. In this case, people with hyperglycemia should drink plenty of water to stay hydrated, take medication as prescribed, and monitor their blood sugar levels. By combining this aspect of education, amateurs can play a critical role in providing early care and ensuring the well-being of individuals experiencing diabetes emergency. So that's all from me. Thank you.
First, let me introduce myself. My name is Febryano Adi Prawira. This is the last 3 digits of my student number 156. Now I'm going to explain about chapter 3, which is the conclusion of our student project. So the conclusion is, diabetes is a chronic condition that is characterized by elevated blood glucose levels and disruption in human metabolism. The diagnosis of diabetes is based on the examination of blood glucose levels and HbA1c using the Perkany criteria. There are several types of diabetes, which include type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and gestational diabetes. And each of those types have varying risk factors. These risk factors include age, weight, race, family history, and lifestyle. If diabetes is left untreated, it can cause chronic complications. Travelers with diabetes should be educated well. This education should include general precautions, change of medicine schedule, management of diabetes symptoms, and giving information about diabetes support groups. Not only travelers, travel guides and drivers should also be educated to guide and stabilize the patient's conditions during their travel period. There are some preparations that can be educated through travel guides and drivers. These preparations include familiarizing with diabetes, communication and confidentiality, preparing for emergency situations, meal planning and meal timing for diabetes travelers, accessibility and comfort of vehicle and travel arrangements, and stress and fatigue awareness. Travel guides and drivers should also be educated in recognizing warning signs of hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia, as well as the initial actions to take in emergency situations. That is all from SGD B-10. Thank you for listening.